This is going to be a walk around video for 2005 BMW 525i. And before I start talking about flaws and whatnot, I want to give you a quick history of what we know about this vehicle, because we purchased this car from a friend of the family, so to speak. It's a guy who purchased some cars here, and he's just a good friend of ours. His neighbor, an older gentleman, was the owner of this car. His wife drove it. She passed away, and the car sat probably for about 4 months on the old guy's driveway. And our friend purchased it from him. He did some service to it, and he basically sold it to us. What was done to the car was the oil change was done, brand new tires were installed. We also changed the valve cover gasket, and from what I could see, the front brakes are brand new. I will go over the flaws because it's a nice car, has only 65,000 miles, but it's not perfect. And sometimes older people, they tend to be less careful about how they drive, so the car does have some cosmetic flaws, and I'm gonna try to cover them as much as possible. Obviously it's an older vehicle, so some of the flaws I would classify them as normal wear and tear, but some of them are probably a little bit beyond that border. Let's start from the front. If you look at the front bumper, there are some little scratches here. I think the front bumper may have been refinished before there. If you look very closely, there are some stress cracks in a clear coat. But the car is silver, and you don't really see a lot of it when you step back a couple of feet. If you look at the hood, there's a couple of touch-ups. All this is just dirt. The wheels have some scuffing, but again, I would say that's probably normal. There is a dent here, right on that fender, that could probably be pulled out by a dent guy. Other than that, on this side, all I see is just a couple of miscellaneous nicks. You know, some of them could probably be touched up, some of them maybe will buff out. This is probably the major flaw as far as the outside. It has a little crease right on the border here, right on the edge of this quarter panel, and it took some paint off, and the previous owner touched it up. So again, if you look closely, you can see it. Also, there is a little scratch here on the bumper, but from a couple of feet, it's not really visible. I also see some touch-ups right here. If you look at the back trunk lid, it's got some little cracking in clear coat. I hope that's visible. Rear bumper looks okay. It's got a couple of vertical scratches here. There's another couple of scratches here. There's a small dent here and another one over here with a small paint damage. A couple of little scratches here. Some of them have touch-up on it. Two little touch-ups here. And looks like a small chip that was touched up here. As far as the inside, the car is really nice. And I think the only flaw is that the headliner is a little loose, so it's kind of sagging. It doesn't look too bad, but it is loose. The seats, I mean, they look amazing. As far as the seats, door panels, the dash, even driver's seat has almost no wear on it. They do have these goofy looking cup holders, and looks like those outer panels are a little coming unglued, so I don't know if I know the cup holders themselves are very inexpensive, and because they break so much, you can get them online probably for $20. But obviously with an older car like that, we're not gonna really mess with that kind of stuff. There is some wear on the steering wheel that's more related to Some people, when they sweat, it's not good for leather. We see it sometimes on the seats. So this is not from a lot of driving. This is just from the chemicals of in people's sweat, I guess. Little rough here, but interior is very nice. Other than that, I'm going to start the car now. I've been talking about the flaws, but let's talk about the good things about this car. Oh, and it does have an airbag light on. We diagnosed it as a module that's inside that door. It's got like internal fault. These modules are $20-30 to replace. The only problem is they have to be coated, and we don't have the ability to coat that. That's why we didn't mess with it. But we did diagnose it, and it has to do with the module inside that door. We were told that even though there is an airbag malfunction, the airbags will still deploy if there is an issue, if there's an accident. So let's talk about the good things. I mean, the car runs amazing, and if you drive it, you definitely can tell the car has 65,000 miles. There are no other warning lights as far as the check engine, none of that. If you know BMWs, you know that these engines are absolutely bulletproof. And some of these older cars that have these motors, they actually hold better value than the newer 2006 or 2007, because everybody knows that these are actually better engines. They're better to work on, they're more reliable. They don't have, I don't think they have that stupid electric water pump. They're just good motors. We have seen BMWs with 300,000 miles that had these engines. The engine runs absolutely amazing. The car does drive very nicely. Again, it has new tires, so it just feels great. It does have HID headlights. I mean, it's a very presentable car. Definitely a lot of car for the money, but it is 20 years old and it does have some cosmetic flaws. Call us with questions.